At my dad's funeral, my GF whispered to her friend, "Can you believe he's crying like a child? It's giving me the Ike." They snickered. I heard every word. The next morning, she found out what real loss felt like. I, Gideon, 29, a geological data analyst, had been with Serafina, 28, a boutique fashion buyer for 3 years. We lived in Denver, Colorado. I loved the city for its access to unique geological research sites, but Serafina only saw it as a temporary place with limited luxury shopping. Our combined income was good, but Serafina's constant focus on high-end consumption and status items kept our finances tight. I made about $190,000 and Serafina made about $80,000 in commissions. We rented a large, expensive loft in the Rye-No district. Our lifestyle was defined by her need for visible luxury and constant social media performance. We often ate at high-end, exclusive restaurants like Frasca Food and Wine. Our friends were mostly Serafina's demanding fashion colleagues and her large, image-obsessed social circle. They constantly validated Serafina's belief that life should be glamorous and emotionally shallow. I felt like the dependable, quiet intellect who was constantly mocked for being too serious. I wanted to move into high-level, international resource modeling and geological strategy. Serafina wanted me to remain a stable, high-income local analyst to fund her current lifestyle. My career was solid but focused on local oil and gas exploration data. I was excellent at regional modeling, but my true passion was in complex, international resource analysis for sustainable energy. I was quietly interviewing for executive roles that offered immense global responsibility. Serafina was openly dismissive of my professional drive. She often called my work dirt analysis and implied my intellectual focus made me emotionally distant and boring. She valued my income but ridiculed my ambition for greater purpose. The opportunity that presented itself was a massive career zenith. It was with a massive, prestigious international energy consortium. The role was Global Director of Resource Modeling and Strategy, Eurasia. The location was Geneva, Switzerland. This was a huge global move, a leap into the highest tier of my industry. The compensation package was enormous. The base salary was $500,000 annually, with substantial tax advantages due to the firm's international structure. They included an immediate, substantial signing and relocation bonus of $100,000. The benefits included fully paid, luxury executive housing, private security, and a guaranteed annual performance bonus of 40%. This was the opportunity that secured immense financial power, global influence, and undeniable professional purpose. I decided to present the offer to Serafina over a quiet dinner. My father had passed away 2 weeks earlier, and I was still numb with grief, but the opportunity was time-sensitive. I thought the global director title and the financial figures would finally earn her respect. "Serafina, I got the offer. It's the director role. It's the one I interviewed for, global strategy," I said, handing her the formal packet. She was more concerned with the quality of the wine. She sighed before looking at the documents. "Another science job, Gideon. Can't you just get a promotion here? I hate moving," she asked, irritated. "It's Global Director of Resource Modeling and Strategy, Eurasia, with a major energy consortium. The location is Geneva." She scanned the salary figure. Her eyes widened, but then her face settled into cold disapproval. $500,000, that's an absurd salary, but Geneva, that's so boring, Gideon. It's all banks and mountains. My entire social circle is here. My clients are here. I have a whole structure built in Denver. I can't just quit my life for a title. You could focus on high-end European buying. This is geological strategy at the highest level. We would be completely financially free in 5 years. This is about building a secure, powerful future. Building a life that is cold and far away. My fun, my status, my career is here. You expect me to throw away my successful life and my friends for a title in a stuffy city? You're so predictably focused on your data, you always prioritize your logic over my social needs. Just say no, Gideon, I'm not going. She tossed the packet back. Her contempt was palpable. She confirmed her priority: her local, high-consumption lifestyle was more important than my executive ambition or our long-term financial security. I was simply a resource to fund her current image. The final betrayal came at my father's funeral reception. I was talking quietly with my sister, my eyes red from crying. Serafina and her friend Cora were standing close by. Serafina whispered, loud enough for me to hear over the low din, "Can you believe he's crying like a child? It's giving me the Ike." Cora snickered, trying to cover her mouth. I heard every single word. I felt an immediate, cold calm replace my grief. I had heard enough. The next morning, Serafina found out what real loss felt like. Update 1. I did not say no to the International Energy Consortium. I accepted the job offer immediately the next morning. I signed the contracts electronically and secured the massive signing bonus. Her casual cruelty and complete lack of empathy at my father's funeral would not be allowed to define my future. My plan began instantly, executed with a cold, rational fury. The following weeks were marked by an extreme emotional and physical distance. I did not confront her about the funeral comment. She thought I was just deeply grieving and conveniently silent. I tried several times to restart the discussion about the Geneva move, testing her sincerity. "The firm is providing a fully paid apartment in Geneva. We need to start the documentation process now," I stated one evening. "I am not doing anything, Gideon. The topic is closed. I'm not running off to some banking city because you got a shiny new title. Focus on grieving. That's what's important now," she replied, completely shutting down the discussion. "This is Global Director of Resource Modeling. It's self-respect and immense financial power. Your self-respect is in a map room. Mine is in a nice city with great shopping. You can forget it. Stop trying to convince me to trade my life for your logic. Be a man and listen to me." She repeated the dismissive lines often. They were designed to belittle my achievement and reinforce her control. Her friends quickly jumped in to mock me. At a weekend gathering, Cora, the friend from the funeral, was particularly cutting. "So, Gideon, I hear you're still talking about ditching Denver for some science job in Switzerland. So boring. Kellen is right. You need to focus on her and your life here," Cora said, looking at me with disdain. "It's Global Director of Resource Modeling, Cora. It's a huge opportunity for our future," I explained calmly. "Future? What future is there in a place with no social scene? Serafina is right. You're just a nerd. You should focus on being supportive, not on complicated maps. Stop being such a drag." "I'm trading stagnation for immense, generational wealth and professional purpose. That's a better future," I replied, walking away. Their collective reinforcement of her views only made my path clearer. They were all financially dependent on their current, expensive social scene. My plan became meticulously secret. First, the financials were reorganized. I opened 2 new, separate accounts, a private wealth management account with the consortium's private bank and a specialized international investment account. I changed the direct deposit instructions. I routed almost all of my paycheck, including the 100,000 signing bonus, into the new, hidden accounts. I left only enough in our joint checking account to cover her share of the rent and our minimal joint expenses. Serafina was too focused on her credit card statements to notice the decreased flow. I meticulously gathered all documents for our joint assets. I spent my evenings on research. I did not use our shared computer. I used my work-issued laptop. I found an excellent expat relocation specialist. I made several trips to Geneva, claiming I had to attend high-level client meetings in New York. I was actually securing our new life. I focused on the quiet, luxurious Cologne area. I secured a beautiful, fully furnished apartment. It was paid for by the company allowance. The lease was entirely in my name. The logistical planning was intricate. I started separating our belongings slowly. I boxed up my extensive professional library. I packed all my technical equipment and my personal records. I used a large, lockable storage unit outside the city. I told Serafina I was selling old research equipment for cash. She did not ask for details. She was too busy planning a massive girls' trip to Chalum. I secured my residency and work visas for Switzerland. The process was handled entirely by the firm's legal team. I had to keep all the paperwork hidden. I managed it all by scheduling calls and interviews during my workday. My focus was absolute. My grief over my father was channeled into this single, decisive action. The time finally came for the execution phase. It was the night before her big trip to Chalum. Serafina was asleep. I had packed my last small bag. I changed the codes on the smart lock. I quietly sent a final text to her phone from a burner number I would discard. The loss is real now. Goodbye. Then I left the house. My plane ticket for Geneva was in my pocket. The divorce papers, finalized and waiting for my lawyer, were taped to the door. The next morning, she found out what real loss felt like. Update 2. Serafina woke up to silence. My side of the bed was empty. She found the separation letter taped to the door. I was in a taxi halfway to the airport, already on a secure line with my lawyer. The official divorce papers were being filed immediately. When she finally contacted my lawyer, the truth was laid out. It was a simple, factual letter confirming the dissolution of the marriage due to her public contempt and expressed lack of commitment. It provided the final details of my departure and my new role as Global Director of Resource Modeling and Strategy in Geneva. The letter informed her that the lease on the apartment had been terminated and requested she vacate the premises by the end of the month. Her immediate reaction was a furious explosion of anger. She sent me aggressive, long emails and texts via an old address. "You're a manipulative monster, Gideon. You ruined my life. You used my grief against me. You will lose your job. I'll expose you for your instability," she wrote. "That was just a stupid comment at the funeral. You took it too far. You are ruining our life for spite. I'm going to sue you for everything," another said. My lawyer sent a brief reply confirming the finality of my decision and stating that all communication must cease. Then came the desperate bargaining. She shifted to long, rambling emails. She promised to quit her job. She offered to move to Geneva immediately. She swore she would love the stuffy banking city. I forwarded the emails to my lawyer. This was followed by a period of dramatic depression. I heard through mutual friends that she was posting cryptic, heartbroken messages on social media. She spun a victim narrative, claiming I was mentally abusive and abandoned her for a crazy, cult-like job in a foreign country. She sought pity. Finally, the spike of pure anger returned. She threatened lawsuits. She claimed half of my future salary. My lawyer, using clear, documented facts of my separate finances and my post-separation asset acquisition, dismissed her claims as legally baseless. The move to a foreign jurisdiction with an entirely new firm made her threats even weaker. My moving day was completely drama-free. I was already working in Geneva. Serafina was reportedly staying with her friend, Cora. I felt an immense sense of relief and quiet triumph. I had secured my life. My new life in Geneva was everything Denver was not. It was high-level, intellectually demanding, and focused entirely on complex resource modeling. My job was challenging and fast-paced. I was managing complex geological and resource strategy across the entire Eurasian market. I was respected by my peers. I felt validated for my scientific acumen. I began thriving immediately. I joined an elite mountaineering club and explored the beautiful Swiss Alps. I started networking with other global energy executives. My work success was immense. Within 10 months, my firm beat all resource exploration benchmarks. I received the massive 40% annual performance bonus. It was for $200,000, entirely tax-advantaged. I used the funds, combined with my massive savings, to make an all-cash purchase of a luxury chalet outside Geneva in the quiet, prestigious canton of Vaud. It was an undeniable, tangible victory. The lies Serafina had been spreading back home began to crumble. She was telling everyone that I was a low-level analyst making barely enough to cover my own rent. "Gideon, is it true you're struggling in Geneva? Serafina told us you took a huge pay cut and were miserable," a worried college friend messaged. "She told my co-workers you were basically living in a shared room and hated the work," another wrote. I ignored her friends entirely. I was polite but brief with her family who had started hearing the truth. "Gideon, my brother told me you're a director. Serafina said you were just a researcher, her cousin said, clearly shocked. I decided to stop the lies permanently. I made a high-impact post on LinkedIn. It was a professional photo of me speaking at a major international resource conference. My title, Global Director of Resource Modeling and Strategy, Eurasia, was clearly visible. I mentioned my firm's market-beating performance and the incredible team I led. The news of my prestige, my massive salary, and the importance of the consortium were undeniable. The reaction was explosive. My professional network was incredibly impressed. Serafina's circle was stunned into silence. The flood of emails and texts was immediate and intense. Global Director, Gideon, I am so sorry. Serafina told us you were doing data entry. I regret the things I said, Cora, the friend from the funeral, wrote, her tone completely changed. We all believed her story about the instability. We apologize for our earlier mockery. Congratulations on your success, a mutual friend added. Her family also reached out. They validated my decision and expressed quiet anger at Serafina's dishonesty. 6 months after the LinkedIn post, she showed up in person. I was leaving the consortium's headquarters. A driver stepped out of a luxury car. Serafina was inside. She looked strained and desperate. Gideon, I flew all this way. I saw the chalet. It's magnificent. I had no idea the job was this big, she said, rushing toward me. You didn't know because you chose to believe I was a failure. That was more convenient for your narrative. Do you remember the ache you felt at my father's funeral? I replied, my voice steady and cold. I've changed, Gideon. I realize how much I hurt you. The comment was stupid. I'm ready to move in. I'll start working globally. I'll support your career completely. You've changed. Did you change when you mocked my profession as dirt analysis? Did you change when you publicly disrespected my grief? Your only change is the sudden realization of my financial status. You want back in on the wealth and the prestige. You don't want back in on the relationship. X insists she changed. I love you, Gideon. I missed you so much. You miss this, I said, looking at the city skyline. You don't miss me. Your circumstances have become difficult. Mine have become incredible. That is the only difference. The answer is no. You are not moving in. The divorce is final. I rejected her firmly. She escalated legally immediately. Her lawyer sent aggressive letters claiming asset claims, all shut down logically by my lawyer. He used clear, documented facts of my separate acquisition of assets post-separation and the lack of a legal claim to my tax-advantaged income. X launched a social media campaign. It backfired. Mutual friends called her out. Even allies turned against her. 1 year later, I was thriving fully. My salary was now over $750,000 with bonuses. I had purchased 2 small investment properties in emerging European markets. My career was accelerating into the stratosphere. I was in a stable, respectful relationship with Eliza, a highly successful M and a lawyer. Our relationship was based on mutual ambition and clear financial goals. I received one final, short message from Serafina. It was a direct message on an old chat app. You won, Gideon. I truly regret the person I was. I am so sorry I ruined everything. My reply was brief and final. It was all the closure she needed. I accept your apology, Serafina. I am doing very well. Final update. I was back in the United States for a brief, required investment summit in New York. My professional profile was massive. I received an unexpected call from Mr. Hayes, Serafina's father. He asked if I could meet him and his wife, Mrs. Hayes, for a quiet dinner. I agreed. They were kind, respectable people. We met at a quiet corporate dining room. They looked visibly distressed. They immediately addressed the issue. Gideon, we wanted to see you. We needed to apologize for Serafina, but mostly for ourselves, Mr. Hayes said, his voice strained. Sir, you don't need to apologize. I've moved past it. I'm happy. We do. We raised her to prioritize emotional shallowness and social approval over genuine empathy and commitment. We taught her that the perception of a glamorous life was more important than a true, supportive partnership, Mrs. Hayes added, her eyes holding regret. We should have supported you, Gideon. We raised her to be entitled and dismissive of genuine, high-level success. We are deeply ashamed of her cruelty at your father's funeral. Mr. Hayes nodded. She lost everything because she chose a childish vanity and contempt over a world-class partnership. You showed her the ultimate consequence of her lack of character. We are sorry we were not better parents and better mentors to you. Their apology was the final, profound vindication. It confirmed that my rational, purpose-driven path was the morally and logically correct one. I accepted their apology gracefully. I told them I harbored no ill will towards them. I wished Serafina peace and hoped she would find her path. I left the meeting feeling a deep, solid sense of completion. My life now is built on the core lesson of this entire experience. Contempt and betrayal, especially during a time of grief, are immediate grounds for total separation. Serafina's cruelty was the final, unforgivable sign that she was fundamentally incompatible with my values. I learned that the only successful response to betrayal and contempt is to quietly build an unassailable reality. I did not engage in her drama. I did not plead my case. I simply executed my plan for success. My escape was not an act of revenge, but an act of self-respect. The revenge was simply the visible difference between her stagnant life in Denver and my exponential growth in Geneva. She lost everything she valued, the wealth, the prestige, the security, because she thought disrespect was funny and emotionally satisfying. I am not a reactive man, I am a strategic man. I created a new life that is incredibly successful, immensely rewarding, and grounded in mutual respect with Eliza. We are building a massive financial future together. My career is soaring, I am happy, I am peaceful, I am fulfilled. I built this life, I earned this life.